Hey Year 11, today we're looking at reducing balance depreciation and there's a worksheet that comes with it. So in the examples that I'm about to show you, you should be able to go through and practice your skills on that worksheet. But reducing balance depreciation, I've written about it here. So when an item starts, it has an initial value, and we call that V0. But then the value of the item decreases at a certain rate. Okay, so this example here is gonna show us what I mean by that. So we've got our item, an industrial printer. So an industrial printer is bought new for $12,000. Its value depreciates by the reducing balance method at a rate of 15% of the previous book value. A. Write a recurrence relation that models this scenario. Okay, so we were told that the initial value was $12,000, so we can start off with that. So the initial value is 12,000, but now we need to come up with the rest of the recurrence relation. So I just want to look at this bit here. So it depreciates at a rate of 15% of the previous book value. So if it's decreasing by 15%, that means that it still has 85% of the value remaining. So it says 85% of value remaining. And 85%, that can be written as 0.85, can't it? As a decimal. Okay, so we're actually going to use this here to write the rest of our relation. So with our recurrence relations, we want to find out the next term. So we would find the value of the next term, so n plus 1, is going to be, and because this is a geometric sequence, we need to make sure we're putting that common ratio in there, and we worked out that the common ratio was 0.85, because we're going to have 0.85 of the value before it. Okay, so let's read this. Starting value is 12,000, and the next value is going to be equal to 0.85 times the current value. Okay, so do you see how each time we're going to be reducing 15%? Because when we reduce 15%, 85% remains. So we're finished with this one. Okay, so B, generate a depreciation schedule for the first 5 years. So we're going to be using our recurrence relation to work that out. But basically what we're doing is finding out the value at each point in time. So we've got our initial value. We want to find our value for the first year, second year, etc. All right. Now, from our recurrence relation, we know that to get to the next year's value, we just need to times by 0.85. So if I take 12,000 and times by 0.85, that gives me 10,200. To get to the next one, I need to times by 0.85. So 10,200 times 0.85 is going to give me 8,670 times by 0.85 again. And again. And the last time. Okay, there we go. And we're finished that example there. Finally, I want to have a look at one of the questions from your worksheet. So there's a few that are like this on the worksheet that you're working on. I just want to go over the first one just so we're really clear about how it works. This one's slightly different to the example we just went over. This one involves using the financial solver on our CAS, which we've actually had a bit of a look at before. All right, so let's go through. Okay, so the items below, we're just looking at the first one though, so a TV. The items below are depreciated by the reducing balance method at 25% per annum. What will be the future value and total depreciation of, so this TV after 8 years if it costs $1,100 new? Okay, so we just need to kind of enter all this information into our financial solver to work out what the future value is, because that's what we're being asked about. All right, so I'm going to enter everything into this table and then we'll put it into the calculator to see how it works. So N is the number of years. So we were told that after 8 years, the percentage, this is the interest rate. So we're actually decreasing by 25%. So our interest rate would be minus 25% because you need to write it as a full percentage. PV is our present value. So our present value was 1,150, but remember we paid that money. That money's no longer in our hands. So the value is actually minus 1150. if the money was in our hand, we would say positive 1150. We're not making any payments, so we'll leave that one. Our PPY and CPY, so that's compound per year, is just going to be 1 because we're talking about yearly, and this will be 0. So if we enter all this information into our financial solver, it should give us our future value. So let's do that now. And remember, if you don't know how to get into it, we go Menu, Finance Solver, and there we go. Here's the table that we had before. So the number of years was 8. The interest rate was minus 25. The value was minus 1150. Making no payments. We want to know the future value, so I'll leave that one. And we're going to have 1 PPV and 1 CPY, PPY and 1 CPY. Alright, so if we press enter, it should tell us our future value. Cool, so the future value of our investment is $115.13. So I'm going to enter that in there. Actually, I'll enter it in here. $115.13. Alright, now it's asked for the total depreciation. So we started initially with a value of 1,150, and our current value, or our future value, is going to be $115.13. The depreciation is the amount of money that's lost off that value. So we could work that out by taking our initial value, so 1150, and taking away the future value, 115.13. So once you've done that, your total depreciation is going to come to, let's see, $1,034.87. And we're done. That's how we would do it.